tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome into the AFTERBUZZ TV after show for Salem. We are talking Dead Birds tonight, episode 8 of season 2. I am Bobby DeMuro. That is Marisa Serafini.
What's up?
As a quick reminder, as we do every week, remember, hit subscribe on YouTube or iTunes if you're listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, we are live streaming this as we are now doing every week with every AFTERBUZZ show. So you can comment to us. Marissa has her laptop out. She can answer you, read your comments on air, whatever you want. If you guys have questions for us, we'd love to take them. And we'll ask questions to you like we always do because we get great comments from you guys on YouTube, on Twitter, and stuff like that. I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. She is on Twitter at Serafini TV. So if you guys want to tweet us, that's another way you can get at us. Let's jump into it today, Marissa. The theme of today's episode, I believe, was sex.
Sex.
And more sex.
And dead birds. And more sex.
Then some sex.
Yeah, and then some sex.
Okay, and a lot of sex.
And just a little bit more sex.
There was some sex, too.
Mm-hmm. just a smidge
You want to see, go do that for 45 minutes? Oh, well, we got to go now.
That's our show.
Okay, let's start with Mary, who had sex. Mary had sex.
I think everyone had sex.
Yeah, but without the sex, we'll get to Wainwright in a second. Let's start with Increase. So Increase comes back. We saw him last week, undead, zombie, Increase, and whatever. And we see him and Mary interacting, and Increase is telling the story of the Countess. This is maybe the only important part of the show, arguably, was the thing about the Countess and her soul, which we find out, spoiler alert, at the end of the show, is the ship, which is interesting. I thought that was a cool...
I think it's interesting how she put the soul into a materialistic object that can easily be destroyed, or is it that simple?
And one that is so obviously seen, it's hiding in plain sight, you would say?
Plain sight, right in front of everyone. If people knew, they'd immediately destroy that ship.
So I like the backstory on the Countess, too. If we're going to get all these characters, we need exposition on them, and I like having it on the Countess now. We finally get more of it.
I think it was so interesting that the exposition came so early in the episode.
Yeah.
That was like the first 10 minutes.
Which...
Not even.
Split it up, man. I'm cool with that.
Done.
And we didn't see the Countess. We only saw her, I believe, in a flashback where she was being executed and drowned and all those things. But we didn't actually see her today, but the whole episode was about her, arguably.
But what was interesting, during that whole flashback, it shows the audience how powerful she was, even at a young age. She's not even an experienced woman and grown into her witchcraft. She was already powerful and innately magical at such a young age.
And Increase has been dealing with her for a long time. And she's vanquished him every time,
nothing.
Right?
But even she, at like whatever age she was, 12, it looked like around that age, she had no qualms about facing Increase or like nothing, because she was so powerful, nothing scared her.
Well, but was that her real age or just the age that she was represented as? Because she's, immortal, effectively.
Maybe.
Those witches are going to live for a lot longer than a human will.
But it shows that she's so experienced, and it's really been her whole entire life.
Yeah, and we learn about her as an adversary for Mary, and it's reinforced to us, and we've said this, I feel like, every week, that Mary's in big trouble, and Mary needs some allies, and Mary needs some help, because what she's doing right now ain't gonna fly, and we see that with the Countess, and we see how powerful she is, and that Mary has every right to be terrified, and should be.
Oh, for sure. I mean... we know that Countess is more powerful than Mary, but Mary has more motivation and spunk.
Does she have more motivation, though?
I think she has more emotional motivation. It's more personal for Mary.
Okay, yeah, the Countess is almost a mercenary.
This witch war.
Interesting. Okay, I guess that's true. But Mary also has more broken bonds, and we see some of the broken bonds today with like Tituba, who we'll get to in a second. But another weird broken bond now is Mary and John Jr.
John Jr.
What
sociopath, man. He's and the first steps to becoming a serial killer.
He's beyond that, though, because he's already like,
he really is.
But he's a piece of work. I'm going to tell you what. He is something.
Yeah.
Even without Mercy there egging him on at the end, even in the first half when he's drawing and doing all that stuff, dude's always been a piece of work. And Mary is completely like aloof to that. She still doesn't get it.
Or it's just like she sees it but doesn't believe it.
She's so paranoid for so many right reasons. Paranoid isn't the word. She's so skeptical about everybody in town, you know, Hawthorne and everybody else in town, and for God's sakes, George Sibley when she first, you know, and then for her own son, right in her room, literally,
She
she's
doesn't
like,
know it.
"Hey, who are you talking to? Oh, you have an imaginary friend. Okay, now." And then he escalates it. She never escalated it. He escalated the horror thing and all that sort of stuff. And then she apologizes for hitting him and doing all that. And she leaves, and it's like, Mary, it's right in front of your frickin' face.
Well, my question to you, did you find it a surprise that it was Mercy being that no one imaginary friend of Little John?
Yes and no. I mean, I guess it could have been a lot of people or entities or an entity that we had yet to meet and we were going to be introduced to. But once I saw it was Mercy, I was like, okay.
That makes sense.
She's the one who eggs people on anyway. She's the one who likes to kind of, you know, poke the bear, so to speak.
I thought it could have been Countess, because we know Countess knows that Little John is...
But effectively it is Countess, because Mercy is working through...
For her. By extension, it could be. But we know Countess is powerful enough to even get into the house, but let alone just be communicating to him in some shape or form.
Yeah. Do you ever wonder... In Salem, let me ask you what's probably a really stupid question. Since all these witches and supernatural beings can get into each other's homes so easily, like Countess and Mercy can just hop on in and disappear and Mary has no idea, do you think it'd just be better if they all lived like open in the woods communally and there were no secrets, because then the witches couldn't operate the same way?
Is that how they used to, though?
That's what I'm saying. Like, or build like actual glass houses. Because like
what's the point?
Yeah, a lot of it is like
what's the
behind
point?
closed doors. You know, Mary held George Sibley behind closed doors forever.
There's
like,
no privacy anymore.
yeah, I
Might
feel
as
like
well.
I feel like that's what you would do instead of quarantine the city or do whatever. You would almost be like, you know what? Glass houses for everybody.
Or just put them in one house.
We're all living in a huge
More
room.
like a sorority house.
We're all gonna
Because
live.
they're sisters in that way.
We're all gonna live in a big room, and everybody look at everybody all the time. Like no, I mean
there's no
that's,
privacy. There's no boundaries anymore.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's ridiculous and stupid.
we get it.
But like, that's kind of the thing. Like, there's so many weird secrets hidden behind so many doors. We saw it with Anne's door today, and we'll talk about that in a second too.
And
but there's
another
so
hidden
many.
door.
Yeah, there's secret doors and there's hidden doors and there's just a lot of secrets being held in these homes. All I'm saying. And the witches have no problem getting in anyways. So the fact that you have a door doesn't give you any privacy anyways. You know, what's the difference?
It's just there.
You can get in anyways like that. So who cares? Yeah, John Jr. and the stuff he's drawing. Now, Tituba does get rid of the stuff he's drawing to hide it from Mary, I guess.
Puts it in the fire.
And then John Jr.
But
goes.
did you see how scared she got immediately when
100%.
when Little John freaked out? And it was more so she was just trying to cover herself. It's like, this is for protection of you. But like, she was immediately threatened.
What is that indicative of with Tituba then, I wonder? Is Tituba going to flip on Mary? We saw her motives with John Alden, with John Sr., talking about Mary never loved her, and there was that weird dynamic of love. But does Tituba flip on Mary, and she doesn't want Mary to know John Jr. because she's working with Countess?
I have a prediction. I don't know if I should say it now or...
You can leave it.
Okay.
Leave it till the end. Yeah. We just move on right now?
Yeah, move
okay.
on.
We'll move.
Your predictions.
So stay tuned for predictions. It's going to be a good one. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's about Tituba.
Actually, it's good we're going to move on because we're going to take a couple more minutes to talk about this. Mary and Wainwright. And sex.
And sex.
Good sex scene, bad sex scene. Before we talk about it, let's
Interesting
grade the
sex
sex
scene.
scene. Good?
It was hot.
It jumped off the rails a little.
Last 20 seconds of what was that?
And like the galaxy, and it jumped off the
It's
rails.
like, okay, you should have been like high on shrooms or something. I mean, it could have been something that was like just passionate, and then it just literally just took a left turn, and like, okay, you ruined it.
It took a hard left.
Yeah, you just absolutely ruined it.
It took a hard left. Yeah, I liked it. I also really liked the wrinkle of Wainwright, the normal guy, the mortal human, whatever, as far as we know, still a mortal human. The Wainwright who was like, this isn't about witchcraft or whatever. This is, I want to look at it from a science perspective. I want to join the club. I'm like, what? Okay.
But, okay, Wainwright, you have all these questions that are now being answered to you, but you're still going the scientific route. You really think Mary's a scientist?
Oh, no, for sure doesn't.
No.
But I think he wants to get to the bottom of it. We're taking him at face value. Maybe it's wrong to take him at face value. Maybe he has yet another motive that we don't know, you know. But I'm taking him at face value that he's like actually wants to be a part of this.
He just wants to learn.
And I'm
How
like,
did you start this box?
This is dude, you don't actually want to learn this,
How
but
do
you're
you
going to find out real
reverse
quick.
this?
Just like Anne Hale found out. You know, Anne Hale went into it, and we know she's not a fit for it.
In over her head.
Although she looked good today.
Like you and I said, he's gonna regret that in 10 seconds. And sure enough.
And sure enough, at the end,
when they were having sex, it was like, "Yep, you're regretting it now."
and she put the ointment on his lips and
Yep.
stuff. It's over, dude. You're in.
Hallucination.
You're in. I don't know if you're a card carrying member of the club yet, but you're getting there. Like that's
Oh,
be careful what you wish for.
He was in.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
I had to.
Put a parental advisory on this one.
I know.
He was in. Thanks, Marissa. I would expect me to say that, not you. But hey, learn something about you every day. Wainwright, the other thing about him, he steals the malum, and he starts to figure things out. So now that he's putting 2 and 2 together, not only was it a mistake for him to go to Mary and want to join the club, so to speak, because it's just a stupid frickin' move, it was also a mistake from the investigative side, because now he knows all this stuff. Cotton doesn't. Cotton may be kind of close to figuring it out. I think he's still a ways off.
I think Cotton's still a little too drunk or hungover.
Or caught up on Anne, or preoccupied.
Emotionally distraught because he just saw his father who was dead. So I think Cotton's just mentally not in the right place to accept anything right now or to figure out this puzzle that they're trying to solve.
What did you make of the Cotton increase, reconciliation, I guess?
I think that was an interesting turn because I didn't see Increase have amends in that way. So having this reconciliation, somewhat forgiveness of everything that in an apologetic tone that Increase was like, I'm sorry for everything. It shows that this is the last we're going to see Increase. When he makes amends for his character, he has redemption.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's
it for his character.
That's unfortunate because I liked his character, but it's good for season 2. And we talked about this. We didn't like Increase coming back. We didn't. It seemed cheap. So if he's gone now, if him disappearing while hugging Cotton and the cloak falls, perfect, good ending. Don't bring him back one more time. Yeah. I don't want to see him again. No disrespect. Is it Stephen Lang is the actor? Dude's phenomenal. Like Increase was a great character, but like the time has come. Let's not be bringing him back yet again.
But his character got redeemed in the end, so that's it.
Yeah. Now
his character story arc is done.
Which is good. I mean, say goodbye to Increase because we won't see him again.
Bye-bye.
And Cotton may never be the same. Between this and Anne.
Poor Wainwright keeps convincing him. It's like, you were really drunk last night for you to be seeing your father, and then you're drunk again tonight.
Cotton drinks a lot, though.
He does. And it makes Cotton just think, like, oh, I'm just a drunk and imagining all this.
Yeah.
When we, the audience, know that's not true. I mean, he is drunk, but it's other things that's making him see his father.
Did you like the scene, the reconciliation, though, aside from the story arc, just the character to character, were you feeling the emotions? Do you think Cotton should have accepted him and given him the hug and do all that kind of stuff? Or was Increase so brutal to Cotton for so long, and it was such a weird supernatural occurrence that Cotton should have stood up for himself?
No, I think it was actually good that Cotton forgave his father, because we saw the very first episode of this season. We see Cotton yelling at his portrait. He's angry at his father, and we think now. I mean, you go back, what is it, 7 episodes now?
Yeah.
You didn't think Cotton would get to the point where he can forgive his father, but we see just Cotton's story arc in a way of just like, first he started angry, now there's acceptance, now there's forgiveness.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's a great way to just Increase pretty much in his character.
It really developed Cotton, because now we've developed Cotton into somebody who not only is like, he always has been empathetic for sure, but is more feeling or loving or whatever. His family story comes together even though he doesn't have the family anymore. It comes more loving and normal. And then you have Cotton, the lover of Anne Hale, who has just been told by Increase, tell people you love them, effectively, here's the Cliff Notes version, tell people you love them, don't wait. And so now him and Anne Hale, he's motivated with Anne to be like, let's go. Now it's time. I'm in love with you. I think that's what's going to happen.
And I think with finishing Increase story, Cotton really doesn't have anything else holding him back. He always had those demons with his father. Now that that's done, he can move on with his life.
I would love him to go back to Gloriana, to tell you the truth. If his father is,
came back,
accepting or whatever, he could go back to Gloriana.
Not that his father's gone, and he was the one who put the exile on Gloriana. Can Gloriana come back? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Increase is gone.
That's I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Apply?
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
I mean, does death break those rules?
No, for sure it doesn't.
Technicality?
I don't think it does. Not for them. In the witch realm, it does, but I don't think it does for the
town.
Mortal realm. Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah.
All right.
Because what's the consequence? Nobody's on Increase's team anymore in the town. If Gloriana were to come back,
do you want Cotton to go back to Gloriana or stick with Anne? I like him in Anne.
I like them both so much, Gloriana and Anne. I want Cotton to be with one, and I'll date the other.
Okay.
And I'll go either way. I really love them both. They're both, really, they're gorgeous.
Both essentially win in the end.
It's 100%. Okay. Bring Gloriana back, Cotton dude, whatever you're feeling, if it's a true emotion, whoever you're in love with, you go with, and then I'll just start dating the other one, and we'll just see where it goes. That's all I'm saying.
And then if that doesn't work, you can just switch.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little crass, but sure, why not? It's my fantasy,
what
right?
With relationships all the time.
This is my fantasy. This isn't real world. This is yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And if Gloriana turns out not to be great or whatever, then totally. Okay, good. Glad we're on the same page. All right, do you want to talk about more sex?
Yes,
let's talk about more sex.
Because that's always interesting.
Okay, here's the thing about this sex, the John Alden Tituba sex.
Well, okay.
Hold on, before we get there.
Go.
Before we get to the sex. John Alden didn't show up for the first 20 minutes of this episode, and he showed up very sparingly in previous episodes. I hate to admit this, and it makes me sound like the worst after-show host because we're supposed to be experts on the shows, and I hope that we do them justice. I forgot that Shane West was a part of the goddamn show. He hasn't been around forever, and John Alden pops up 20 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, that's Shane West.
He's the main dude of the show.
He's disappeared the entire season, and I literally forgot today. The first 20 minutes go by, and I'm like, all the characters, we got them. Here are my notes. Here's what I'm going to write. That's right. There's John. That's right. It's embarrassing for me, but it's indicative of what's going on with John this season.
It's really sad because he's a main character, and the fact that he's been tied up for now 3 episodes, literally tied up for 3 episodes. Thank God he was finally released.
And there's nothing news and gossip-wise, because we check this every week, there's nothing news and gossip-wise either one of us has found that would indicate Shane West on another show during production, Shane West, having a weird injury on set and couldn't film. There's nothing like that. Like, why make it such a small part for such a long time?
Why subdue your main character for literally 3 episodes?
I don't understand. He's had 2 lines an episode almost, it feels like. I don't understand.
2 minutes per episode, that's it.
I just don't get it. And we're getting a lot of Mary, which sometimes is a little taxing, and we're getting a lot of Anne, all about Anne, love her story.
She's amazing.
But give us some more John. Or give us or don't, or kill him, right?
Well, I guess so. But I think the only reason why they literally kept him tied up is because he's going to play a bigger part in the finale, in the last episodes, because he still has his one main objective, which is hunting down these witches in the Witch Wars.
I guess.
And he's been so not in the loop with all these people and everything that's going on. They're going to forget he even exists and he's around. He's going to come and blindside all of them.
I guess. Maybe. And he'll have that, heroic, stereotypical entrance. Like, in the middle of a fight, he'll come in from the side and, smack somebody.
Back.
I guess. But I literally forgot he was in this show, which is a ridiculous thing to have to say.
It's really sad.
And it's a commentary on how stupid I am. It really is. But it's also a commentary on how they've totally wasted him for multiple episodes, and there better be a damn good reason. And I'll be optimistic. I'll say, you know what, there's going to be a good story. We're going to get a great twist with it. But if we see a 4th episode or whatever next week where he's got another 3 lines, what?
Then what the hell was even in the season 4?
What's the point? He's effectively become George Sibley. Mm-hmm. That's what he is.
But subdued by Tituba instead of Mary.
Yeah, and he's locked up and he can't do anything. Not to be too critical, but to be critical.
No, but to literally underutilize your main character, what's the point? Is he really main anymore?
That's the thing.
No.
I don't know. I have no idea.
His name is not above the masthead.
And on this topic still, Hawthorne's completely disappeared. Not that
Yeah.
he's a main character, obviously he's much.
Yeah.
And Wainwright disappeared earlier
Magistrate?
this year. You know, Wainwright, we talked a couple episodes ago about how Wainwright, we hadn't seen much of him. Now he's having sex with Mary. So these two people do come back and forth and stuff. But it's weird that we can go multiple episodes without updates from characters, big or small, and I don't know if I like it. Isaac totally disappeared.
Yep.
He's still alive, though.
Yes.
You know,
He has hope.
Dolly's dead. We've
Dolly's
beat that
gone.
one to death, almost literally.
By Sammy.
Isaac is still alive, and I wonder if we'll ever see him again, or if he's effectively written out, even though he's alive.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I'd be happy if he was still alive and he was written up, because again, he might be the only character that has a happy departure.
Yeah.
But I think another reason why is to really just build the Wainwright character and have him pair up with Mary, have them build a relationship so everyone loves their relationship, and then bring John in to ruin the third, three parties.
That's interesting.
That triangle relationship that's always fun to watch in TV shows as often as it happens. That's what makes it interesting.
And then if John can somehow sense witches or knows who's a witch or whatever during these witch wars, he can also go to Cotton, his old buddy, not buddy, whatever, and say the person you love is a witch.
He's a witch.
And John can just be messing up all kinds of relationships. John's like Jerry Springer of, Salem. Not quite.
Nah.
Bad metaphor?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I
whatever.
don't think Jerry
Yeah.
Springer.
Just try it. I don't know.
I get where you're going, but no.
Either way, something's weird about that. But the Wainwright sex thing, which is how we got started on this John topic, moving to the Tituba sex thing. Tituba and John having sex, but Tituba turns out to be Mary, so...
Okay.
I think...
Was that more of a figment of John's imagination?
100%. I think so. I don't think it was... Tituba was Tituba the whole time. Right?
She was very aggressive.
Because look at this, too.
In
We
this whole
saw it. You could see
situation.
how they shot it. So when they were close, I think after... both of John's hands had been cut off the ropes when so at the third part, because first she like cuts his boot or whatever, then she cuts his first hand, and then after she cut his second one, he threw her up against the wall, and they were
She
doing
was all
it.
over him.
Totally.
She was very aggressive.
But I think it was always her, because when you had, if you're from her perspective and I'm from John's perspective, every time they shot facing you, so it was John's perspective here, every time they shot facing her, it was Mary. That was when it flipped to Mary,
Yeah.
And every time they would flip the camera right back to the B shot, which was from Tituba's perspective towards John, you could tell it was Tituba's curly hair and not Mary's straight hair.
Yeah.
So I think that was meant to convey the Mary in that thing was a figment of John's imagination. And John, to deduce, is still
But why do
in love.
So why do you think Tituba had sex with John? Is it because of jealousy of Mary? Because we see Tituba always wants what Mary has.
I think Tituba...
have control over something that could control Mary.
A little bit of both.
Step up.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both and then some. I don't know if there's a procreative aspect to this, if she wants another demon witch child, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was
John
just
Jr.
control issues on
But
Tituba's part.
I think it was definitely control issues, and it was definitely, I think, trying to ally with people, because I think what we're seeing today, we're seeing Tituba getting ready to flip on Mary. And I don't know if Tituba will go to the Countess or whatever, but I think Tituba's days as Mary's henchman are numbered. And to be honest, that's probably a good thing, because Tituba is one of the characters I like the least. So maybe if she flips out on her own, goes with whoever else, maybe that character changes a little bit and we can see some development from her.
Yeah, and Tituba also did say the line tonight, something about being an ally, but then also plotting at the same time. So we know Tituba is going to flip the script on Mary.
And Tituba kept
It's
having those weird
inevitable.
lines about, like, Mary didn't love me in return.
Yeah.
And we talked about this off air. Marissa and I talked about this before we went on tonight. And you interpreted it, or you immediately interpreted it as a relationship or love, or is Tituba a lesbian? And immediately I was like, nah, she means love, like care and stuff. But the more I think about it, it wouldn't surprise me if there was, like, romantic love that Mary spurned Tituba over.
I think it was just romantic, whether it be a woman to woman or just sister to sister and coven-like and whatnot. And it might have been Tituba trying to show affection towards Mary, and Mary rejecting her. Therefore, Tituba is jaded in a way and has reason and motivation to turn on Mary because she never got the acceptance that she wanted from Mary.
Yeah.
So it might be that.
And she never got the acceptance with the Essex witches,
Yeah.
saying about how like they would never take me seriously and stuff. And part of that was almost like I don't know how to interpret that. It was almost a racial thing about like, oh, they'll never take me seriously. I'm the slave. You know, Tituba was the slave in history.
Yeah.
But it was like, wait a second. If you guys are witches, the race thing is totally immaterial because this is just the body you're in right now. This doesn't really, you know.
Yeah, the line slave doing Mary's bidding or something
Yeah,
like
it was
along
like
those lines.
It was like I understand in the real world dynamic.
But plotting.
In the Salem dynamic, totally. In the witch dynamic, you'd be like, oh, well, this is just the era we're in right now, but we're witches and we're going to live a really freaking long time in different things, you know. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe I'm reading that wrong.
Yeah, something about servant that also plots. Yeah, along that. I don't have the exact quote, but it was more so being the servant, doing out everyone else's bidding, but also simultaneously plotting.
Maybe we'll see, and maybe this is kind of a prediction, but maybe we will see Tituba, who honestly has been my least favorite character on the show, I think.
You've said it every after show.
But
do you like Tituba, Bobby?
No, not at all.
I can't tell.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe because she is so non-dynamic. She's so static. That's the opposite of dynamic. She's so static that maybe this whole thing has been static for, you know, a season and a half. And now maybe she goes crazy and has a Mercy moment. And not as wild as Mercy.
Well, she knows she's going to turn on Mary.
Exactly. She goes out on her own. And I would love to see that character develop to that and do something kooky. Let's see it.
I'm surprised she just didn't kill John right then and there.
You know,
she had him.
I've wondered about that.
If you really wanted to step up over Mary, just killed the man she loves.
I've wondered about that for 4 episodes now.
Torture.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I think it's a power play. It shows that this is literally Tituba having dominance over someone else, and dominance and control gives her the edge and the step up over Mary.
And we saw the coming, you know, the previews for next week or whatever, the coming attractions. In that thing, Mary puts like a knife to Tituba's throat, I believe, and is probably ready to kill her or whatever. And Tituba's like, John's alive, I know where he is. That's the trump card. That's the trump card. So if she keeps that trump card, if Tituba is ready to totally burn bridges with Mary and maybe die or maybe do whatever, she would have killed John and said, hey, Mary, you're on your own.
But also, I have John, but he's on my leash.
Exactly.
So
and now
nice
maybe he's on my team. Or we had sex and I'm carrying his child. That's the procreative... That's the procreative thing that I was wondering about. Like, maybe...
That'd be too soon, though.
Well, maybe there's another John Jr. coming.
I mean, I get this is the 1600s, but still, the anatomy hasn't changed since then.
Maybe we fast forward 3 weeks. I don't know.
I highly doubt that.
maybe
we
witches
had sex
have a...
and I'm pregnant the very next day.
Well, yeah, that's what happens.
It happens,
just don't
but
know
you don't know it yet.
Yeah. Maybe witches have a certain sense, and they can sense the demon baby in their stomach. I don't know.
Good Lord.
I'm just making shit up. Let's move. All of it is sex. Or literally, our entire board is sex right now. So let's move to sex topic number 3. Anne, who's not having real sex quite, but having sex dreams.
Sex dreams, which was close enough.
Oh, totally close enough. And arguably,
she's dreaming about cotton.
Arguably the hottest of the 3 sex situations tonight because it was the realest. It was like normal and real. It wasn't like weird roped off stuff. It wasn't the galaxy flying around Mary and Wainwright. Like, this was like what actual people would do, but it was like
love.
Yeah, they were in love. It was meaningful. It was sexy. It was like awesome.
And then it got creepy when Sebastian was literally hovering over her during all of that.
Sebastian's a weirdo, man.
He's a creep.
He is a weirdo, and not even like in the sexual way, because he was like, I haven't come for your virginity. He's just a weird dude. I mean, obviously, he's a weird dude. He's with the Countess. He's got his whole thing going on. But he's a weird...
I don't know what his point is.
I'm not sure either. Does he just do her bidding?
Yeah, I think it was just a bidding.
Is he her...
servant to Countess?
Remind me.
Son
That's what
Countess,
I was saying, yeah.
But... other than the fact that it's like, this is what the Countess has lined up, get ready.
Is it actual son, or is it just son? Because that's
son.
the... with the quotes. Because
son question mark.
Because, but I don't know, because that's like the relationship they want to put out to the public. They want to put out to the real world, this is Countess von Marburg and this is her son, Sebastian. And actually, he's not a son, he's just another witch or whatever.
My
you know
question is, if they, because right now the audience is led to believe that their mother-son, real blood-related relationship.
Yeah.
Who is Sebastian's father? Who is Countess' lover / husband?
You know what
Is he a witch?
Do you know what
is
I immediately thought?
Another antagonist?
I bet you can guess.
Gonna see?
I bet you can guess who I immediately thought.
Man, oh no. Increase.
Increase. Who else would it be? Who else do we know who's older? Maybe it could be like Magistrate Hale. That'd be kind of kooky.
That was the first thing that I was going to say. Magistrate Hale, maybe.
But I think
But we know Increase has history with Countess.
Exactly.
But how creepy would it be if Increase knew Countess at a young age, and then I don't know.
Well,
that's questionable.
I'm telling you, man. Increase. So Sebastian and Cotton. Let's go with this theory for a second. Indulge us. So Sebastian and Cotton could be like half brothers. Oh my God. And then Cotton marrying Anne. And then okay, no, I guess okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. But if it was Magistrate Hale, who was Sebastian's father, we're going way off. But if Magistrate Hale was Sebastian's father and Anne's father, then good thing Sebastian didn't come for sex to Anne Hale's, because they would have been half brother and sister too.
Half incestual relationship going on right now.
Which Sebastian's creepy enough to do, I'm sure. But for some reason, I want to say Increase is Sebastian's father.
Put it past Sebastian to do it. It'd be nice, but if this really is the last of Increase, I don't think that'd be an answer. Be a question that would be answered. And if it really was Increase.
The other question is, does it even matter? Because is Sebastian going to ever do enough, or is he always just kind of a pawn? You know, is he always is he von Marburg's answer to Mary's Tituba, a boring character who doesn't develop, and maybe one day he goes out on his own like Tituba looks like she's trying to do. But as long as Sebastian is under Countess, like Tituba has been under Mary, you and I are going to sit here and be like, meh.
Yeah, meh. Do you think Sebastian is rogue enough to turn on his own mother?
Not yet, and I don't think we know enough about him to... If he did it, if he was like, oh, I'm turning on you, we'd be like, okay.
Why?
Who are you again? Like,
yeah.
We don't know enough about him. Yeah, Tituba at least we've seen for a long time.
He's too crazy and creepy right now to do anything about turning on Countess.
And I think that the turn relationship with Countess that we're all interested in is Mercy. You know, Mercy flips on everybody all the time. Mercy's the last one you'd trust with anything, but also the craziest. So she's also good at what she does. I think Mercy's the one who's going to flip on Countess in one way.
Mercy flips on everybody.
Exactly.
It's like, why? Mercy. God.
I like the new Mercy, though. I like the Mercy with hair, the more feminine Mercy. Like, it's a good Mercy.
She's not feminine.
Well, more feminine than she was. She had a buzz cut, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they didn't have clippers back then, but you know what I mean.
She's still as crazy as ever.
She's crazy as hell.
And then now teaming up with Little John Crazy.
Little Crazy is the weirdest character on television right now. That guy is so bizarre.
I gotta say, props to the kid who plays him. I was like, his stares and his evil looks, he's got it down pat. Like, ooh, I would not want to cross him.
That kid, man, that is
He might be like 10 years old, but I would not want to cross Little John.
That is a creepy frickin' kid.
He is. He's like the next thing to the Omen.
That is a creepy... Every time... And it's a beautiful character because kids are supposed to be so innocent and removed from it. It's even like when Anne at her age is so innocent, we're like, oh no, Anne, don't be a witch. No,
don't kill Mr.
You're
Jenkins.
So pretty. You know, but this kid, he's so much younger, it's like, oh,
and
no.
even the drawings he's doing.
Oh, God.
How disturbing are those? Because those are like abortion and killing the kid, going through labor.
It's like what's in Anne's Book of Shadows. It's very similar to stuff that was in Anne's Book of Shadows. This kid could draw his own Book of Shadows. Or maybe he is, or maybe he has. That's the thing. You know, who knows about who this kid actually is? I don't know if we're going to see like a reincarnation theme.
They need a paternal test.
Yeah,
to show like, is this, or
there's
or
your Jerry
DNA
Springer
test,
reference, man.
Is this really Mary's child?
There's your Jerry Springer
you are
reference.
not the mother.
You need a little daytime television with these folks.
A little bit.
Okay, but Anne, now that we got on it, I want to talk about
Anne.
Anne. She's kind of our last big topic, I think. In the Book of Shadows and Brown Jenkins and her love with Cotton. Let's start with Cotton. Before we get to Anne the Witch, let's start with her and Cotton. Sex. Do you think that love is going to last? Because they asked each other today.
Yeah, they did. I would love to think it's going to last.
But
until the spell wears off and Cotton realizes what happens, I think he might just be too freaked out and be like, Anne, how could you ever do this to me, especially with witchcraft? You know how my feelings about my father and how he delved into that. This is everything that goes against what I stand for and believe in. I could see him walking away.
I'll go one further, and I'm just going to make a prediction now because I just thought about it, and I don't want to hold it for predictions. I'm not like you. I don't hoard my predictions for the end. I give the people what they want.
I gotta sound smart in the end in my predictions.
Have we done on this show, remind me, have we done the prediction where we each predict a character to die? Like, who's the first character to die? Did we do that in this show or Penny Dreadful?
We did it last week. You thought it was going to be Wainwright and...
That's right. Okay. We do too many damn shows here. Okay.
Especially together, goodness. Bob and Marisa
confusing.
Constantly prevailing.
I am going to amend my prediction. I still think Wainwright's going to die. I think he's a prime suspect to die. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to slightly amend my prediction. Maybe it won't be first, but I believe that there is no way... Okay, when the spell wears off of Cotton, I think that he is going to still be in love with Anne. Maybe I'm ignorant to that, but I think he's still going to love her for logistic reasons as much as romantic reasons, to be honest. And he falls hard. He fell hard for Gloriana. He falls hard. So I think he's still going to be in love with Anne, because how could you not? She's cute as a button.
We love Anne.
We do. But... there's always a but. Mm-hmm. Anne is a witch. And if there's one thing Cotton will never abide by,
deal breaker.
It's witchcraft.
Deal breaker.
Wainwright is weird and crazy. And he was like, hey, tell me more. Cotton, never going to happen. Nope. So, one of those two, Anne and Cotton, is going to have to kill the other one.
Ooh.
That's the only way it ends.
I think Anne is going to kill Cotton. If that's the way it ends,
that's the only way.
Because
Anne, if she finds out that Cotton doesn't love her and it was just the spell, she's going to have to dispel of him because he's going to tell everybody who she is or whatever. And Cotton, he's not going to be like, oh, I don't love you anymore. It turns out you're a witch. See you later.
Bye-bye.
No shot. No chance.
But also, what would Cotton add more to the story if that's the case? His character would be done.
So you're saying that like, if it happened, Anne would be the one to kill him?
He literally wouldn't add anything else, because we know where he stands, we know his ideals and values and whatnot. How much arc of his character can we have?
I'm still holding out for a John and Cotton, bro team. I'm still holding out for the bromance. It's going to come back. And now that Wainwright is going to be out of the picture because of this whole witch sex thing, I think the John and Cotton bromance, that's a good bet.
Well, John still has to get it together.
Yeah, but Cotton's always had to get it together. But that doesn't mean the bromance can't happen.
I mean, they both have their issues, but that's where brotherhood comes in. They help each other deal with their problems.
I think we're ripe for something crazy. And I think the crazy is going to be this Anne Cotton thing's not sustainable. They can't be in a relationship together if one's a witch and one's not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
It's deal breaking.
And Cotton will never...
You can't have a relationship where it's not based on mutual trust.
And if Cotton becomes a witch, I will walk off the after show. There's no way. No. It's anathema to everything about his character.
He's the one strongest character against witchcraft. And for him to go into witchcraft, what's the point?
There's no way.
What's the point?
I just fail to see how this show could be sustainable moving forward if that ever happened.
It'd be done.
Yeah.
It'd be done.
Okay, interesting. That's a good talk. I'm just thinking about stuff. I'm just trying to think about like Anne and Cotton, and this whole thing is so bizarre. But God, I love Anne. Let's talk about her and the Book of Shadows and that hidden room. She's becoming a better witch. We know this because she's killing animals fearlessly now. You know, she's not hesitating to off anything. She brought that damn bird in or whatever and ripped its head off, and then she went and got what was the next one and sprayed it all over the place. And then she got was the second animal Brown Jenkins when she killed once, and then she ripped her own arm open, and then she went and like scraped her father's blood off, and she's like doing what she has to do. Now those things,
she's figuring it out. I will give her that. She's like quickly figuring out, this doesn't work. Okay, this works. And that's how witchcraft works.
Now, those things, you know, killing Brown Jenkins knowing he's going to return, which he always does, is a very far cry from, you know.
And now she's just doing mercilessly and not really thinking about it. No qualms.
Oh, yeah,
just
but
you're
that's
dead.
a far cry from doing big-time witchcraft things, like scary witchcraft things, like she had to do with the Countess or whatever with the well.
The well.
You know.
That was scary, though.
And Anne's also still kind of a baby because she saw what we think was her own picture in the Book of Shadows, right? Yeah. And closed it and flipped out.
It looked like her.
It did look like her. Under the tree and all that. And closed it immediately and flipped out. So she's not quite there yet. But she's
still
getting there.
trying to like figure out, okay, this is my fate. This was always predestined of me, and I'm innately magical.
And the thing she did to Sebastian tonight, when she got him away, the eyes turned red again. No other witch's eyes turn red.
No, and that's what I love. And because we saw the last time she did that, it seemed like she was not in control of that. Tonight it seemed like she was more in control.
Or
like she purposely said, back off.
Yeah, or even if she wasn't in control of it, she was cognizant of what happened. Like, it wasn't like she popped out and she's like, where am I? She was more cognizant of understanding what it was. So maybe she's understanding the powers, or just the fact that she has them, which would be a huge understanding, because if you understand you have them, maybe you're more likely to use them.
It seemed like she was in a little bit more control tonight.
100%.
And if that is the case, I can't wait to see when she has full control over it.
Oh, I would love her to have... Yeah, absolutely.
She's going to be awesome.
That's a great development to see her have control. Granted, I like innocent Anne. I would have loved for her and Cotton to fall in love without the whole witchcraft thing, because it's going to mess it up. But if you're going to be a witch, be a witch. And she's seems to be getting a little bit better. So I can't complain about Anne. Did we miss anything? I have in all caps, I forgot John Alden was even on the show. That's in my notes.
That's sad.
It's terrible. Oh, this is one thing I wanted to say. This doesn't have anything to do with the show. It has something to do with the writing. Every frickin' episode, a character says, heed this advice. There is so much advice being heeded every week, and nobody ever gets anywhere. Like,
and you said it. I was like, they're giving a lot of advice tonight. What?
Everybody says heed this advice. And Anna Koppel, who did this show in season 1 with us, would love this. There was a scene tonight, the scene where Anne pushed Sebastian when he was in her room, where I don't remember what Sebastian said to her, but Anne's response was, really? Do you remember that? She goes, really? Like a teenager in 2050. Really? I was like, no. No. Nobody would talk like that. I know the word really was probably around at that time. But in that...
It pertains to our generation that's watching right now.
Exactly. In that, like, rhetorical use. Really?
Okay. And one thing I don't think we really mentioned, just the very blatant title of the episode, Dead Birds. These birds are flying towards Little John, killing themselves in the window.
Which, by the way, Little John is the official name now of John Jr. on our show, so you guys can hashtag that, Little John.
Yeah, don't get him confused with Robin Hood and all that.
Or Little John.
Or just Little John in general.
The rapper, you know.
That's true.
But that's why he's got the name. Yeah, the Dead Birds thing, totally... obvious, right? Incredibly obvious. So obvious, maybe it's not.
Evil connotations, evil objects are drawn to him.
And dead things are coming to die for him, and he likes dead crap, right? I mean, he's hoarding these dead birds.
He's hoarding it, and it's his bed.
It's one thing for him to be like, oh, there's a lot of dead birds around me. Like, you put them all in your bed. Like,
he's like, yeah. I just keep them.
Yeah,
it just happens.
It's just a little bizarre.
No big deal.
And of course, the metaphor, like the crows and stuff, and the black. These aren't, songbirds and blue jays and stuff. These are crows, right? You can't discount that. And you busy typing on our YouTube live stream?
I am.
Good comments.
People just being surprised that we are live. Yes, we are live on YouTube right now. We are live speaking. As we speak.
Right after midnight on Monday, it's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day.
It's like, you're Bobby, I am Marissa. We are hosting Salem right now.
Let's restart the show. We'll do the whole thing again.
And reset. Alexa's like, nope.
Yeah, she's like,
nope.
Producer Alexa's like, I'm going home.
I gotta sleep.
Y'all can shut it down. I think we kind of hit it all with that. I know we want to get predictions in a second, but I think we kind of hit it all in that. I'm interested to see the soul in the ship, or the soul is the ship. I'm interested to see what that is. And Mercy, again, we barely saw her tonight, but she's just freaking,
Yeah, my thing is, how does one transform a soul, which is somewhat of an intangible object, into a tangible object such as a ship?
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, if Voldemort could do it 7 times and turn them into Horcruxes in Harry Potter, why can't Count this?
Let me ask you this question to finish up before we do predictions. Has this show jumped the shark?
I think in some stories, yes. I think it's more like, we could completely go left field. The audience can accept it because it's supernatural. It's magic. It's fantasy. Suspend our disbelief. And we can understand and be like, yeah, that happened. Okay, fine. We'll let that be.
Which storylines have jumped the shark for you?
I think the whole sex scene and going into fantasy world and the
for
space.
Mary and stuff?
Mary's like,
yeah.
What does that prove? This isn't witchcraft. This is just hallucination.
This is just weird. The graphics were weird. The CGI was weird.
It was weird, physically weird, and it's like not as Roxanne would say, aesthetically pleasing. It's like, what did it add to their relationship, to the storyline?
It's a little weird.
Witchcraft.
This show's becoming not unstomachable. I mean, we like it, but at times we definitely like to hate it. And I don't think we're alone about that. I really don't think we're alone. But I would actually love to hear.
I think it gets to the point where it's too unrealistic, to the point where, like, why even go that crazy?
Yeah, 100%. It was fun in season 1 when they were hunting witches, because you're like, who's going to get caught? Who's going to get found out wrong? Who's going to get accused? That was a lot of fun. And now there's so many different parts of the supernatural realm. I'm looking at it and going, okay, wait a minute. What's the rule with the Malum, and what's the rule with this guy, and where does Countess come in for this, and what is even this person's motive? Like, there's a lot. There's too much.
There's a lot of storylines that are being like literally forgotten about. The whole Grand Rite story, that's still technically still going, but we haven't heard anything about it since like the second episode. And because they're just trying to deal with their own shit.
And John Alden, man, he's disappeared. He needs to come back.
He needs to come back and be a main character. All right.
All right, let's do predictions. That was a great reaction.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
All right, so you wrote something down. You got something amazing.
I think it's good.
Let's hear it.
It's up to you to think if it's amazing. Tituba. During that whole reaction, that it's like she immediately backed off of Little John after realizing she just pissed him off. I think this whole time she's been afraid of Mary, when really she should be afraid of Little John, because I think Little John might kill her. Not Mary. Little John's gonna kill her.
Oh, totally, yeah. I'm with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That it?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had multiples, because my prediction I've already given, which is, to reiterate, there is no way in the world that Cotton would become a witch for Anne. If Cotton became a witch, I'm done. There's no way. He's not. Everything about his character forever is anti-witch. So, when he figures out Anne is a witch, there's a couple options to go, but all of them lead to somebody's going to kill somebody. Because there is no realm in this universe or any other where Cotton's going to be like, oh, you're a witch. Yeah. See you around. No shot.
It's either older John or Little John that's going to kill Tituba.
I can get with that. I can get with either one of those.
Because she has equally pissed off both.
I can get with that. And I can see, I can see older John.
I think Tituba's going to die. I said it last episode, Tituba is the female to go.
Interesting. And I'm still with Wainwright dying. Maybe not anymore, because he's going to get into the witch thing now. And maybe Mary has a new ally. You know, if Tituba dies, maybe Wainwright is Mary's new ally.
Wainwright comes.
But again, this Cotton and Anne thing is coming to a head really fast. This is not sustainable what they're doing, because she's not a damn human anymore.
I can make another bad joke, but it won't.
Oh God, here we go. On that note, that's it for us this week on the Salem After Show. You guys can always comment on YouTube. We're checking the live stream, but we check these all week long. So if you have comments and it's Thursday, 5 days from when we're filming this, comment. We see them. We see them every week. We'd love to hear from you. And we're on Twitter at Serafini TV over there.
Yep.
Over here at Bobby DeMuro. You guys can tweet us stuff. You know, we're relatively nice on Twitter too. That's it this week on Salem. We'll be back next Sunday for more Salem After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.